What if I told you Amazon's most powerful business is not online shopping? Every day, millions of people buy products from Amazon phones, clothes, books, groceries, and almost everything you can imagine. But behind the world's biggest online marketplace, Amazon quickly built something even more powerful. A business that helps run a massive part of the internet. Netflix, startups, banks, governments, artificial intelligence companies, and millions of businesses depend on technology like this every single day. And the company behind the massive digital infrastructure is called Amazon Web Service, or simply AWS. But here's the incredible part: AWS was not originally created as some grand plan to dominate cloud computing. It grew from a problem inside Amazon itself, and that problem eventually helped Amazon build one of the most powerful technology business on earth. So how did an online bookstore build a digital infrastructure behind millions of businesses? How does AWS actually make money? And why are Microsoft, Google, and some of the world's biggest technology companies fighting for control of the cloud? Today we will uncover the incredible story behind Amazon Web Services, how it started, how it became a global technology giant, and why the future of artificial intelligence could make AWS even more powerful. Let's begin. In the early days, Amazon was growing extremely fast. Millions of customers were visiting its website, more products were being added, and Amazon's technology was becoming increasingly complicated. Whenever Amazon's developers wanted to build a new product or launch a new feature, they often needed some basic technology, servers, storage, databases, on computing power. But building the same infrastructure again and again was slow, expensive, and flashy. Amazon realized something important. What if computing infrastructure could be offered like a service instead of every company buying expensive services, building massive data centers, and maintaining all that technology? What if they could simply rent computing power whenever they needed it, just like electricity? You don't build your own power station. Every time you turn on a light, you simply use the electricity you need and pay for what you consume. Amazon believed computing could work the same way, and in 2006, Amazon Web Services launched services that would help transform the technology industry. The idea was incredibly powerful. A small startup no longer needed millions of dollars to build its own technology infrastructure. It could use AWS to access computing power, storage databases, and other technology through the internet. Need more computing power, use more, need less, scale down, and instead of spending huge amounts of money before launching a business. Companies could pay based on their users. This completely changed the game. Suddenly, entrepreneurs could build companies faster, startups could complete without owning massive data centers, and large corporates could access powerful technology without building everything themselves. As the internet grew, AWS grew with it. More websites, more apps, more streaming, more online businesses, and eventually more artificial intelligence. All of them needed computing power, and AWS was ready to provide it. But how does AWS actually make money? The answer is surprisingly simple. AWS sells technology infrastructure as a service. Imagine a company wants to launch a new application. It needs servers to run the app, storage for customer data, databases to organize information, security, networking, and computing power. Instead of building all of that from scratch, the company can use AWS, and Amazon charges customers for the services they use. One customer may spend only a small amount, another massive corporation may spend millions of dollars using cloud infrastructure. Now multiply that by customers around the world, and suddenly you understand how Amazon built one of the biggest cloud businesses in history. But AWS has another powerful advantage. Once a company builds its technology deeply into cloud platform, moving everything to another provider can become difficult, expensive, and time consuming. Applications, databases, security systems, and massive amounts of information may all depend on that infrastructure. This can create extremely strong customer relationships. But AWS doesn't control the cloud alone. Microsoft Azure has become a massive competitor. Google Cloud is fighting for its own position, and now a new technological revolution is making this competition even more important. Artificial intelligence AI systems needs enormous amounts of computing power, powerful chips, massive data centers, storage, networking, and infrastructure capable of handling incredible amounts of information. Companies around the world are racing to build AI products, but most companies cannot build their own massive AI infrastructure. So where do they go? The cloud. This is why the AI revolution is not only a battle between companies like OpenAI, Google, and Anthropic. Behind the scenes, there's another battle. A battle to provide the computing infrastructure that powers the AI revolution. Amazon, Microsoft, and Google are fighting for that opportunity, and AWS already has something incredibly valuable scale. Years of experience, massive infrastructure, global customers, and one of the most recognized cloud platforms in the world. But perhaps the most incredible part of the AWS story is how quickly it becomes so important. Most people interact with Amazon by buying a product online. They see the package, the delivery trucks, the website, and the shopping app. But they don't see the massive digital infrastructure operating behind the internet. AWS doesn't need to sell you a physical product. You may never personally buy an AWS service. And yet the websites, apps, businesses, and digital services you use may depend on cloud infrastructure. That is the real power of AWS. The greatest businesses don't always have products directly to everyone. Sometimes they build the infrastructure that everyone else needs to build their products. Amazon started as an online bookstore, then it became an e-commerce giant. But behind the scenes, it built something that helped transform the entire technology industry. Amazon Web Services and as artificial intelligence, digital businesses, and the global internet continuing growing, the demand for computing power could become even greater. So the next time you hear the name Amazon, don't just think about online shopping because Amazon's most powerful creation may not be the marketplace where you buy product, it may be the invisible infrastructure helping power the digital world. AWS. If you enjoyed this documentary, subscribe to our insights because every week we uncover the untold stories behind the world's most powerful companies.